Hi, I'm your host Vasco Duarte. Welcome to the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast, where we share tips and tricks from Scrum Masters around the world. Every day, we bring you inspiring answers to important questions that all Scrum Masters face day after day. On Fridays, we talk about the product owner role in Scrum. We talk about patterns and anti-patterns that relate to ours and the team's collaboration with the product owner. And we've also put together a course to help you navigate that relationship. There's 18 modules, nearly 8 hours of tools, techniques, videos, handouts, presentations you can use to help you and your team work better with your product owner. The course is available at bit.ly/coachyourPO. All lowercase, all one word. That's bit.ly/coachyourPO. And now, on to the show, the Product Owner Show. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Friday episode this week with Nilesh Makan. Hi, Nilesh. Welcome back.
Thank you for having me back.
Absolutely. So today is TGIF and Product Owner Friday here on the podcast, and we'll talk about a bad example of a product owner. We'll later on finish with a great example, an inspiring product owner, so that we end up on a high. But for now, let's concentrate on the worst, potentially the worst product owner anti-pattern you've witnessed in your career.
So I think for me, the worst product owner anti-pattern is really a product owner that doesn't shield, and I like the term shield, that doesn't shield her or his team from the external stakeholders. So when you don't do that, what happens is that you create additional scope creep. The team doesn't know what to focus on. There's people coming at the team from multiple different perspectives. There isn't a level of prioritization that allows you to deal with the backlog from sprint to sprint. There isn't necessarily clear sprint goals that have been allocated to understand what needs to be delivered effectively. There isn't effective communication with the broader external stakeholder environment to understand what those customer needs are, what those business needs are, and translating that into stories. When I think about the product owner role, it's a very onerous role. And I think also what happens, particularly in big corporate organizations, is that the product owner role is often split up, and product owner has got other responsibilities and plays a product owner role as a part-time role in many instances. And I don't think that's often the fault of a product owner per se.
I would say that that's completely true, that it's not the fault of the product owner. But one thing that we need to understand as Scrum Masters is it is our job to help the product owners understand that it is a full-time job, that it's not something that you can do, on top of 3 other roles that you might have.
Absolutely. And I think that is our role as Scrum Masters, right? Is to really coach the product owners and get them to understand the significance of the role and what it means, to really, we talked about a little bit about empathetic leadership earlier in the week. And empathy is really about getting into the shoes of someone else, right? Getting into that mindset of someone else. And if we think about design thinking, design thinking is really starting with those customers and those customer needs. And it starts with empathy to begin with, right? So if a product owner is not really getting into the nuts and bolts around, who are we working for? What is our customer? Who are not even what is our customer? Who are our customers? What are they thinking? What are their needs? What do we need to build for them? If you're not paying attention to that, then you're going to be building the wrong solutions. And when you start building the wrong solutions, it makes it very difficult to scale. So, when we kind of start at the start, when we really started why and who we building these solutions for, it becomes really important. And I suppose it leads me to the second part of the question, which is what makes a good product owner, right?
Correct. That's the next question. So let's talk about that. What makes a great product owner in your mind?
So a great product owner for me is a great leader, first and foremost, right? I think that is really important because it's very difficult to disconnect this notion of leadership and product ownership. And again, it's the inverse of everything we've said, right? It is really about two things: alignment and autonomy, in my mind.
Give us a little bit more of context for that. What do you mean by alignment and autonomy?
So the way I see it is that if you think about an axis, right, and if you kind of look at the y-axis and you put alignment there, and we clearly aligned on the vision, the strategy, the objectives, our values, our purpose. If we clearly aligned on that, and you kind of then draw the axis on the bottom end, on the x-axis, and we talk about autonomy, I feel that those are directly correlated. Right. So the more aligned we are in terms of where we want to go, the more autonomy we can give our team to deliver. Again, the inverse of that is also true. The less alignment there is in terms of our vision and values and strategy, then we start becoming this command and control culture, because we can't trust the team to get things done, right? There is no alignment in terms of what needs to be done. So we have to tell people what to do. And then you're building up these anti-patterns of the command and control. So the first thing we need to do is be clear in where we want to go, and then we need to make that transparent. So we need everyone to understand, which creates alignment, right? So transparency and alignment is absolutely key. The next step is really then thinking about things from a competency and a trust perspective. So in some instances, we can give autonomy, but if people don't have the competencies to deliver, then we need to build those competencies. And again, that makes a great product owner, a coach that can help improve the team's competencies in certain areas, provide the right level of skill, upskilling, the training, the coaching, everything that is required as a product owner to ensure that the team has the right competencies to deliver on the right solution.
Yeah, including helping the team understand where those competencies might be lacking and working with stakeholders to provide that to the team, right?
Absolutely. And you have to be intimately involved in the team, which is why it can't be a part-time job, right? Because a team is often between 4 and 9 people, right? It's quite a big job. Even if you have to speak to that team, one member every week, for just an hour, you're going to be spending half your time just doing interpersonal team dynamics, right? So you can't be doing this as a part-time job easily. It has to be more focused and it has to be more deliberate so that we can build better solutions. And then, we have to allow the team to focus on that delivery, right? There's this lovely work by Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi that talks about flow. And how do we get a team into the state of flow, where time changes, where people are so passionate about what they do that they engross all their effort, even including their discretionary effort, in terms of trying to drive better products. And if you do that with a focus on the customer, so you kind of have this focus and flow, but you focus on the customer, I believe that drives better innovation. And it all starts with those customers and those customer needs and this constant iterative feedback from the customer back to the team. A great product owner is one that just allows that team to flourish and drive innovation at speed and scale.
Absolutely. That's a great way to put it. Thank you very much for that, Nilesh.
Cool.
So now we are getting close to the end, but before we go, we do want to know, where can we find out more about you and the work that you're doing?
Cool. So the easiest way is to go to either my LinkedIn profile, which is Nilesh Makan, or alternatively my website, which is www.padawanconsulting.com. And just out of curiosity, the reason I love the word Padawan is it means Sanskrit it means learner in Sanskrit, right? And I think it's important that we need to be constant learners and have this growth mindset and continually learning and developing ourselves through personal mastery so that we can create a better society going forward.
Absolutely. That's a great way to put it, and an inspiring name for your consulting company for sure. So, Nilesh, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for your generosity with your time and your knowledge.
Thank you for having me on the show, Vasco. It was an absolute pleasure meeting with you and having these lovely conversations.
One more week of the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast is over, but there's a lot more we have to share. We have developed our own membership site where you find a community of active and engaged Scrum Masters. In this site, you get access to exclusive content and get to interact with us, your podcast hosts. as well as the best Scrum Masters in the world. Join us at scrummastertoolbox.com/podcast and keep this podcast free of advertising. See you next week for one more week full of Scrum Master tips and tricks. We really hope you liked our show. And if you did, why not rate this podcast on Stitcher or iTunes? Share this podcast and let other Scrum Masters know about this valuable resource for their work. Remember that sharing is caring.